We had already gone through 6 verses of the Bhaja Govindam. Over here we have seen that the Acharya, Adi Sankara, is explaining to us the futility of longing for, craving for, and running after wealth, family, relatives, life companion, our own physical body. Running after means, if it's wealth, it is running after it, wanting more and more of materialistic assets in our life. When it comes to people, we get over attached to people, hoping that they are real, rather thinking that they are real, they are going to be permanently with us, and they will be able to fulfill all our demands, all our desires, and therefore we will be eternally happy. This is why we run after things and being. Sankara over here in the first 6 shlokas has told us that nothing is permanent, nothing is real in the sense it comes, it stays with us for a particular interval of time and then it goes away. So therefore it is not real, it is not going to be constantly with us. And also whatever happiness we seek from wealth or from relatives or from family or from our house or from our own physical body, he says over there, it's not going to be permanent. The happiness that we seek from all of them is not even real happiness, it's just pleasure. It comes and goes. And therefore actually we are being cheated over here by our own selves. Nobody else is doing it for us. We ourselves have got caught up in this wrong notion. We have given to everything and every being a tag that it will be there with us permanently, and we will be and therefore we will be able to derive our happiness from it. This is our situation, our samsara. Sankara is saying, no, he analyzed it very beautifully for us. He dissected it very beautifully for us. In spite of the teacher telling us all this, still, why do we not enter into the spiritual path? Why don't we walk the path? Why don't we engage ourselves in seeking the Lord, in invoking the Lord? We always tend to postpone it. Because right now our priorities are wrong. Right now our essentials are something totally different. We are completely external. Our attention is completely external. And we are seeking our happiness in the world outside. So when the teacher comes and tells us, why don't you invoke the Lord? We always want to postpone it. So therefore in the 7th shloka, the teacher is telling us over here, it happens in all stages. Normally we say, why now read the Bhagavad Gita, or now why enter into the Upanishads? After all, we are very young. Let us enjoy a nice life, and later on when we become old, when we become senior citizens, probably when we retire, we will have more time to enter into the scriptures. So we keep on postponing it. He says it keeps on happening. From where? From our childhood, we have been knowingly and unknowingly postponing things. When we were little children, probably our parents didn't put us onto the right track. Why a temple for my child? I will go and come. Why stotras, bhajans for my child? Why should he or be learning all these principles of Dharma, etc.? This is all for a little elder children. So we keep postponing it. So directly and indirectly we have been postponing it. That's what Sankara says in the 7th verse over here. He says, Balastavat krida saktaha, tarunastavat taruni saktaha, vriddhastavat chinta saktaha, parame brahmani kopina saktaha, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam bhaja mudamate. So it starts right from our childhood days. He says, Balastavat, When we were children, we were constantly engaged in what? Krida Sakta. Sakta means asakti. Engaged in. Always, for children, play is always a priority. So why don't you study? No, I want to play. They get attached to whatever be the games, indoor games or outdoor games, whatever it be. Therefore, Krida means sport. So therefore, Balastavat Krida Sakta. When we were children, we were engaged in play. Our priority was play. And therefore, we postponed it. We said after some time, when we grow up, when we become teenagers, a little more older we become, a little more mature, then probably we will look into all these things. The teacher says, no, it doesn't happen. Tarunastavat Taruni Saktaha. When we enter into youthhood, we know what happens. It is all passion. That becomes our priority in our life. Boy for the girl and girl for the boy. Where is time for spirituality? Where is time for us to seek the Lord? Why should I go to the temple? Why should I go and attend a bhajan or a satsang? Whether it is Gita or Upanishad, or even if it is Ramayana and Mahabharata or the Puranas, this is not for me. This is not the age for me. Children, youngsters will argue. This is all for elders. Right now, for us, it is all passion, which is more predominant. And therefore, to fulfill it, we have to run into the world outside. So, Tarunastavat Taruni Saktaha. So, always we postpone it. Maybe when we grow old. How old? Best thing is after we retire. At that point of time, lot of time will be there for us. Because we are sitting at home, nothing to do, no office work. And therefore, a lot of time will be there to engage in religious activities, spiritual activities. Sankara says that will never come. Vriddhastavat Chinta Saktaha. As we grow old, day by day, year by year, he says, Chinta will start occupying our mind. Chinta means worry. It can be any type of worry. Worry about ourselves, worry about our children, worry about our grandchildren, worry about our very old age. And if we are sick, worry about that. So, we all, again, this is the reality of life which we are seeing around us and about us. So, we hope that when we become old, when we become senior citizens, when we retire, we will engage ourselves in godly activities, spiritual activities. Sankara says that never happens. The moment you grow old, he says, Chinta will come to you. Anugalavu Chinte Jivakke. Purandara writes very beautifully in the Devarna. Always, he says, it's not just only old age. When we were children, we were engaged in thinking about our game, our play. When we become youth, we are again thinking of, brooding about, worrying about whatever is our passion, our immediate passion when we are in our youthhood. And then again, when we become old, of course, he says, all sorts of chinta will come to us. So, anugalavu chinte. There is never a break from this. So, he says over there, when we have a house, it's one type of a worry. When we don't have our own house, it's of course another type of worry. When we are not married, one type of worry. When we are married, another set of worries will come to us. When we don't have children, one type of worry. When children are there, of course, it's another type of worry. When we don't have wealth, of course, it's worry for us. When we come to possess wealth, has the worry gone? It's a different type of a worry now. So, where has worry gone? Worry has never gone from our lives at all. So, very beautifully he concludes and he says, Purandara Vitalana Chinte Vande Nischinte. All else is worrying, brooding over. It's not good for us. Neither for our physical health nor for our mental health. But he says, on the other hand, to think about the Lord, it's the same thinking process. Chinta means to think. When we are thinking of the world of things and being, it's called as brooding. It brings us down, it pulls us down. The same thinking process, nothing new over there, the same thoughts. Instead of the thoughts going towards things and towards beings, if the thoughts are turned towards the Lord, he says that is called as contemplating. There's an ocean of a difference between brooding or worrying and contemplating. Thinking process remaining the same. If our thinking is invested in things and beings, it's called worrying and brooding. But the same thinking process, when it is directed towards the Lord, it becomes contemplating. It uplifts us. It elevates us. Therefore, he says, Purandara Vidalana Chinte Vande Nischinte. It takes you to a point where there won't be any worry at all. Nischinte means a state where there is no worry. So, even when we are old, Vriddha, still some sort of a worry or a brooding will always be there. When will worry leave us? Worry will never leave us at all. And therefore, we constantly keep postponing our religious activities or our spiritual activities. This worry is there now, I have to attend to it. Worry means some difficulty is there, problem is there, challenge is there, hurdle is there, whatever it be. Whether it be for ourselves or for anybody else in our house. So after this has been when we tide over this circumstance, then I will think of the Lord. But by the time we have overcome that particular difficulty or challenge, one more is waiting for us just around the corner. They're all in queue. So therefore challenges, obstacles, worries, hurdles, etc., they're all waiting one by one, one by one, one by one. There is never a time when it is not there in our lives. So from one worry to another is our life's journey. So whereas worry stopped, it never stops at all. And therefore constantly we are engaged in thinking of the world, of things and beings. Therefore the teacher over here is saying, Parame Brahmani Kopina Saktaha. Nobody, alas, he is saying over there. He is very concerned about all of us, the teacher over here, the guru over here. He says from one worry to another we are shifting we keep shifting from this worry to another worry. Asakti means to get attached to. So if this attachment is not there, some other attachment will be there in our life. If that attachment is not there, asakti is not there, some other asakti will be there in our life. It just goes on. When will we really be able to connect with the Lord? Asakti towards the Lord. He says, never ever does it come. And this Parame Brahmani Kopina Saktaha. Brahman is the word he is using over here. Parama Brahman, supremost Brahman. It can be Saguna, it can be Nirguna. It can be Brahman of the Upanishads, nameless, formless, attributeless, or it can be a Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Devi, etc. So where is the time for a never ever do we get attached to Bhagavan? Constantly we are only attached to things and beings, and therefore we are engaged in worrying about and brooding about it. But we never ever contemplate on the Lord. We never ever try to connect with Him. Asakti means to try to connect with Him, to establish contact with Him. How can we do that? Only by invoking Him. So he says, never ever do we think of the Lord in our life's journey. Which is so true. When we sit down, all these shlokas are for us, these verses are for us to sit down and analyze within ourselves how much of time we have really wasted in our life. We have wasted so much of time. We always thought next year or tomorrow. But the tomorrow or next month or next year never came to think of the Lord. This worry and brooding constantly was there in our lives. So either it is krida, play, or either it is passion when we are in our youth, or it is pain when we become old. These things never leave us at all. So where is the time for us to think of the Lord? We have never ever thought of the Lord. And then so what? The teacher says, Sannihite samprapte sannihite kale. The time will come. And when the time comes, then we realize we have never ever invested even 1 minute or maybe 1 hour in all our lives towards the Lord. And He is the only one who can save us. He is the only one who is the ultimate shelter for us. He is the only harbor for all of us. But still we never ever connected with Him. We never took His name. We never invoked Him. So the next verse, 8th verse over here, the teacher is continuing the same line of thought. He is asking us to sit down and analyze. Why are we so connected with things and beings? Why are we so much attached to things and beings? We get attached to things and beings because we hope that from them some happiness will come to us. And also we hope that they will be there eternally with us, permanently with us. So one thing is, it will stay with us. Things or beings, people, they will always be with us. We hope for it. And also they will give to us happiness. He says, investigate into it. So in the 8th verse, Sankara says, �𝐭𝐡 𝐼𝐿𝐴 kaste putraha samsaroyamativa vichitraha kasyatvam kaha kuta ayataha tatvam chintaya tadiha bhrataha Bhajagovindam Govindam bhaja modamate. He says, inquire into whatever is there around us and about us. Again, Shankara is not telling us to drop everything and run away to the Himalayas or run away to an ashram. We are not to do that. Living amidst people, living amidst all the luxuries that we have around us and about us, all the material wealth that we have, the people who are there in our lives, our family members, etc. He says to keep the right relationship with all of them, with things, with beings, and also keep the right relationship with your own body also. We think it will be permanent. And therefore we have invested so much of time only on the body. Whatever we do, still aging will happen. Decay will set in. Diseases will come in. We know how slowly things will start packing up as we grow old. Therefore, he says, keep the right relationship with the physical body. Bhagavan has given to us a physical body. Make use of it is what he is saying, intelligently. Allow the Lord to function through you. Hand it over to Him. Let Him use your body as an instrument for His will to get accomplished. So whatever we need to do in this place, in this time, in this situation, or whatever it is, we need to do it. And for that, yes, we need a body, healthy body. Of course, we need a healthy mind and intellect. But so far, that's all, and not beyond that. But to consider that this is going to be there permanently with us and it's going to be as efficient as it is now, later on also, is foolish. Therefore, he is saying we must become aware of it and keep the right relationship with things, with beings, and with ourselves also. So over here in the 8th verse, he is saying, �𝐿𝐴 kaste putraha. He is using two words over here. He says, inquire. Inquire into whom? 𝐿𝐴 𝐼𝐿𝐴. Who is your wife? Inquire into it. Inquire into it. Do vichar. Kaste putraha. Who is your son? Now it doesn't mean we have to sit down and investigate only into two relationships. One is wife and one is son. Beyond that, should I inquire and investigate into any other relationship or not? Shankara didn't tell us. It doesn't mean that at all. He uses these two words, wife and son, but we have to see beyond that also. So wife and son stand for all people or all beings who are dependent on us. One set of people who depend on us for their survival, and another set of beings on whom we depend on. So all the beings in our life, whether they are family members, relations, friends, etc., we can divide them into two. Office, wherever we are working also, all beings, we can divide them into two groups. One group depends on us. Another group, we depend on them. So wife and son stand for these two. It literally doesn't mean only start inquiring about who is your wife, who is your son. It doesn't only mean that. Wife and son are the strongest relationship that we have in our lives. Wife and son, or husband and son. Son stands for daughter also. Wife stands for husband also. That's the nearest relationship. For the wife, life companion is the husband. Next, in turn comes the child, son or the daughter. So vice versa. So therefore, he is over here picking up wife and son because they are the nearest relationship for all of us. All other relationships come later on. Therefore, these two. So these two, wife and son, stand for, like I already said, for all people who depend on us. And also in turn, we depend on many people for our sheer survival. Wife and son denote that. So he says, investigate into who is your wife, who is your son. Are they permanent? Even when it comes to wife and son also, are they permanent? Were they there in our life before we got married? Before he got married, where was his wife? The number of people at home, maybe it was only 3 or 4. Now the wife entered on a particular day after marriage. Now the number in the family increased. Earlier to that, she was in her house. He didn't even know her. He had never seen her. So her form is new, her name is new, the relationship is new, everything is new. It just came today, the day of the wedding. Will that relationship survive through and through life? Sankara is saying, investigate into it. Who knows who is going to go before whom? It's not a hard and fast rule that only the one who is elder in age will go away earlier. Nothing like that. So whether the wife will make her exit first or whether the husband will make his exit first, nobody knows. After that, what happens? So till they were there, till the wife was there or the husband was there, see, unnecessarily we got into a blinding attachment. That without that person, we can't survive at all. We did survive before the marriage. We shall continue to survive after the exit of one of the partners also. So in between he says, why this unnecessary clinging attachment to that person? Let the person be there in our life. Gurudev used to say, nobody has the right to give away, to just drop off any person. Husband dropping the wife or the wife disowning the husband. Bhagavan brought the two of them together. So he has brought the person into our life. So therefore, it's not our right at all or our dharma at all to just abandon that person. But we should keep the right relationship with that particular person. So therefore he says, investigate into who is your wife or who are the people who depend on you or you depend on. Who is the son? Earlier husband and wife, they were two. Then only the third one arrived, the son or the daughter arrived. Before that, where was the son? Before that, where was the daughter? How many years are we going to continue to live as all the three of us? We do not know when any one of us are going to exit. How many are there? How many parents are there who have seen their own children dying in front of them, whatever be the reason? So therefore, Sankara is saying, do vichar, sit down and think, who is my wife? Who is my son? From where did they come? Bhagavan brought them into our life. Therefore, yes, it's our duty and responsibility to look after them as best as we can, without any clinging attachment to them. In them also, if we start seeing the Lord, then the problem will be different. That binding, clinging attachment will not be there. And also, is anybody permanent? Nobody is permanent. Neither we are permanent, he is permanent, nor the wife is permanent, nor the son is permanent. Things will keep changing. And therefore Shankara says over here in the second line, samsaroyam ativa vichitra. This samsara itself means coming and going. That which comes and goes is called as samsara. So, which means change. Coming and going means something is changing in our life. Yesterday came and went away. Today has come. Today morning came and went away. Afternoon came. Afternoon went away. Now evening has come. Evening will go away. Night will come. So everything outside of us and everything inside of us keeps coming and going, coming and going. Maybe in the morning it rained. Now it's not raining. So rains came, rain went away. Summer came, summer has gone. Windy season has come, it will go, rainy season. So everything in the outside world and everything inside of us also keeps on changing. Thoughts come and go away in us. New thoughts come, they also go away, make their exit, so that some other new fresh set of thoughts can come in us. This is called as samsara. So outside also, yes. Inside also, yes. So therefore he says, this samsara ativa vichitra, he says. Nothing is permanent. The entire realm of change. Vichitra, wonderful it is, adbhuta it is. If we sit down and investigate into it, everything just keeps coming and going, like the waves come to the shore and then they go away. So on the beach, we sit down over there and enjoy the waves coming and going. When the wave is coming, we don't rejoice so much. Why? We know the wave will go back. If the wave was going to permanently stay with us, it wouldn't be nice to sit on the beach. There is nothing to see over there. The play of the waves means the waves coming and going. That itself is a beautiful sport for us to see. Wonderful it is. So what is wonderful for us to see? This change. Similarly, he says, why don't you see this change also as something wonderful that is happening about you and around you, outside of you and inside of you. To be able to see this or to have this emotion of wonderment in us, this adbhuta in us, and to be able to say, oh, this samsara is really wonderful. Everything is coming and going. Everything is coming and going. To be able to do that, we need to step back a little within ourselves. Only then we will be able to see everything happening over there just outside of us. All of change is happening. Things are coming and things are going. Beings are coming and beings are going. Situations and circumstances are coming and going away. And we are what? We are only a witness of all of that. And this coming and going includes our own body, mind and intellect also. So therefore, the stepping back has to happen within ourselves. Then we become a witness. That's what he is trying to tell us over here. Stand as a witness within yourself and view the entire world, this entire realm of change, which includes our own equipment, body, mind, intellect also. Then we will be able to say it's wonderful. Why? We are far removed from the realm of change. But right now we are in the change. We are identified with the change. We are overwhelmed by the change, whatever it be. Therefore, this wonderment we will never be able to experience within ourselves, because we have become a part of the system. So, therefore, to be able to appreciate this change that is happening in the world outside, we need to step back and become a witness. When can that happen? When we sit down and do our own manana, reflection in us. When we start reflecting, slowly we are moving away within ourselves and seeing everything outside of us. Like I said, including our equipment also. Then we will be able to recognize and register all of the change happening in front of us, whether it is okay or whether it is not okay. But still we are seeing it. We will be able to appreciate it. Like we see the waves coming towards us and then the waves going back also. Why are we not worried about the wave going back? Because we know another wave is going to come. So then it becomes a sport for all of us. That's how masters look at it. Therefore, for them it is all krida, play, sport for them. For us it is no sport or krida because we are all in it. So when things are okay, we hit the ceiling. We are overwhelmed by happiness and we expect it to be permanently with us. But it's not going to remain with us. So when happiness goes, sukha goes and dukkha comes, we are down. We completely collapse over there. So therefore we have entered into the system, which means we are attached to everything, every being, every situation. And therefore we can never ever see things as they are. Never ever relate to people as they are. And also relate to situations and circumstances as they are. For that we need to step back a little. That's how our masters are all. Jivan Muktas, our Acharyas, Guru, they are living amidst us. They are in the same world, living in the same world in which we are. The corrupt world, the violent world, whatever. Bad is there, good is there. In this Kali Yuga that we say where bad is more, adharma is more, in the same world they are also living. But they are not affected by anything, good or bad. Conducive or not conducive. Conducive and non-conducive from our standpoint. They know so beautifully how to step back within themselves. They've already stepped back. That's why we call them as realized people. So everything is happening in front of them. They are not connected with anything, any being, any situation or any circumstance. It's far removed from them. It's happening somewhere far beyond them. Therefore, they view it as a krida, as a sport. For us, it's not like that at all. We have got stuck in it. Therefore, Sankara is saying, inquire into everything. View the samsara as something which is vichitra. That will come only when we learn, when we start practicing this Sakshi Bhava in us. Then in the third line he says, Kasyatvam kaha kuta ayata. So after having investigated into all relationships outside of us, wherein he used the word wife and son over there, he comes to our own self. He says over here very beautifully, of whom are you? From where did you come? What is your source? Kuta ayata, from where did you come? A few years back, where were we? The day of our birth, we manifested. Our existence, so-called existence, came into being. But before that, where were we? Question mark is there. Of whom are we? Where do we really belong to? Do we belong to this caste, to this creed, to this lineage? Nothing we know. So therefore he says, investigate into all of them. Of whom are you? Means to whom do you really belong to? Do we really belong to our parents? Do we really belong to our husband or our wife, whoever we be? Do we really belong to our children as their parents? How many janmas we already must have gone through? In each janma, relationships were different. So therefore, really, to whom did we belong to? Did we belong to all of them? Or what we are at right now? Is that real? Or was the earlier janmas real? Question mark over. From where did we come? We have no idea at all. And where are we going? That also is a big question. Therefore, the teacher says over here, he uses the word brata. Brata means brother. So Shankara is so nicely talking to us. He is making us his own brother or sister. It's a very nice relationship over there. The teacher doesn't stand far away from the disciples and then say, you all children of sin, you're all lost. Unless you listen to me and you do this, don't do this. It's not like that at all. How beautifully he relates to all of us. He calls all of us brother or sisters. It's a very nice relationship over here. When he addresses us as brother or sister, we immediately connect to the teacher. Or when the teacher says, my son, my daughter, we immediately connect with him. That's how the Guru-Shishya relationship is. Father-like, son-like, or father-like, daughter-like is Guru-Shishya relationship. Or sister-brother-like. So therefore he says, hey brata, tattvam chintaya tadiha brata. Therefore leave alone all these things, unnecessarily engaging in thinking of the world of things and beings and running after them. It's not the food, clothing, shelter that Sankara is talking about. He's not talking about the needs. He's talking about the wants. And when it comes to wants, +1 is always a possibility in our life. How much ever we have, still we want. So where is the time for us to think of the Lord? I have to do this, I want to do that. Then this has already come into your life. You said, if this much wealth I make in my life, then I'm fulfilled. Once that comes into our life, are we happy? We are not happy. We want a little more. When that also comes into our life, are we happy? No, we are not happy. Again, we want a little more. It will never end. Fulfilling our desires will never end our desires. Rather, more desires will start coming into our life. And therefore, we are constantly in the world outside trying to fulfill those desires, which that list will never ever cease to exist. Therefore, he says, turn around, look within, and therefore think of what Tattvam, the real truth. What is it that is really existing? What is the reality behind this entire samsara, the world of change? If there is a world of change, a realm of change, which we are all constantly experiencing outside of us and inside of us, there must be something changeless on which the change is resting. Change needs a foundation. If we are staying in a house or a flat, whether it is a 24th flat or flat wise or the 60th floor, there has to be a foundation. Without the foundation, none of the levels can exist. Similarly, if there is a realm of change which we are very, very familiar with outside of us and inside of us, there must be something solid, changeless, supporting the change. That he calls as the reality tattvam. Why? It will never change. Floors can increase for a building. They can demolish a few floors also. They can add a few floors also. They can do an extension in some area also. But the foundation remains the same. Nobody touches the foundation. Similarly, change is happening in increase is there, decrease is there, variation is there, modulation is there. So many things are happening, which we are all perceiving in our life. If all of that change exists and we are experiencing it, there must be some solid, changeless factor upon which all the change is happening. What is that? Think about it. Oh brother, is what Sankara is telling us over here. And what is that changeless factor on which all change is happening? Bhagavan, Brahman. Or we can call it by any of the names of the deities which we are familiar with. If waters are moving in a river, there has to be a solid river bed to support the waters. If the river bed is not there through and through and through, the waters will not flow. Now the water may be less in summer, now the water may be more in winter. In the rainy season, floods will be there. Now the water is muddy and dirty, now the water is clean. Now the waters are roaring, floods. Now it is very gently moving, less noise. All of that is change. But all of that is supported by the river bed. If the river bed is not there, no waters can flow. So there is nothing like a river over there, an identity called river. So therefore he is saying that which is changeless, the one absolute changeless factor. Absolute means it never changes. On which we perceive all change, wherein we experience all change, that factor Sankara calls it as Tattvam. That reality, absolute reality. We can call it truth. We can call it Paramatma. We can call it Rama, Shiva, Devi or Brahman. We can call it by any name that we want. So think about that. He is asking us to invoke the Lord. In physics, there is a very beautiful experiment. We all have heard of this Einstein's theory of relativity. Relative means nothing is permanent. Nothing is absolute. Everything keeps on changing. So Einstein says over there in his theory of relativity, all space measurements and all time measurements are relative. Space measurements means space, length, breadth, height. Space measurements are relative means it's not absolute. Time measurements are also relative, he said. It's not absolute. It's not one time measurement. So all are relative. So if space-time measurements are relative and not absolute, and we are all living in this space-time world, we all want to identify or discover something which is absolute. Why this is all changing? Space and time. How can time change? We are all here for example, we are all here for a satsang 4 to 5. So from the clock standpoint, it is 1 hour. 4 o'clock we started, 5 o'clock we will end. That is measurement of time objectively. Objectively means outside of us. But the real time measurement is within us. If we all like the satsang, for whatever reason, if we like the satsang, time will fly for us. At 5 o'clock we will feel, already it's 5 o'clock. We just now started the satsang. It looks like 15 minutes only over or 20 minutes only over. Already 1 hour is over, time flies. So that same one hour looks like 15 or 20 minutes for us. Which means I measure time not outside of me but inside of me. But supposing we are bored by the topic, by the satsang, bored, solid bored, time drags. We start looking at the watch. I thought half an hour is over, only 5 minutes over, 55 minutes more, I have to endure. Okay, somehow we sit. Again afterwards, I think 20 minutes must have passed. Again we look at the watch, 7 minutes only over. Measurement of time becomes slow for us. Where? Inside of us. Outside time is only 4 to 5. This is what Einstein is talking about. Time measurements, space measurements also. They say in Kannada, mane doddadagi illadidru, mana doddadagi irbeku. House may not be big and spacious for everybody, but the mind should have space. If we have space in our mind, will our mind come? We can all somehow adjust. But so inside there is space. When inside there is space, somehow we will accommodate and adjust. We will be adaptable, flexible outside of us. But when space is not there, when we are very narrow-minded, I don't have space at all next to me. You can't sit over there. Actually, there may be space. But from my standpoint, there is no space for her. That's my measurement of space. But if I'm in a proper frame of mind, I can say, come on, we can adjust. Why one more, 2 or 3 of us can somehow adjust on the same sofa or on the same bench. Never mind. Space measurements over there. So all measurements become very, very subjective to us. Therefore, Einstein said everything is relative, means space measurements and time measurements all are subject to how our mind is, how our mental bhava is, how the mood of the mind is. So therefore in physics, they said if everything is relative, means everything is changing, measurements are changing, why not we try to discover something which is absolute, something which will never change, which will be eternal, changeless. So they did experiments. It's called Michelson-Morley experiment and came to negative results. Which means the conclusion is there is no absolute frame of reference at all. In the outer world, there can never be anything absolute. Why? We are in a realm of change. So that's where physics and metaphysics, really come together. So outside, how much ever we try, we can never ever find something changeless. We can never find anything absolute. But within ourselves, yes, there is that one changeless ultimate reality, which we can call it as truth, we can call it as consciousness, we can call it as Atman, we can call it as Brahman, we can call it by whatever, we can call it as Shiva or Devi, we can call it by any name. That is there in us. That is changeless. And on that changeless, all change is happening. That is what Sankara is telling us to think of. He says everything else belongs to the realm of change. And ativa vichitra it is. Things come and go, we are aware of it also, yet when the waves are high, we ride on it. When the waves go low, we go down into the dumps. So Sukha and Dukkha constantly alternating in us. And we get so stuck up and tied up with it also. Those emotions of Sukha and Dukkha come and overwhelm us so much that we never ever realize that this is all just on the surface. Deep down below, is there any change? No, there is no change. Why? There is only the changeless. On the changeless, we have superimposed all change. What is the change that we have superimposed on the changeless? It starts from our equipment onwards. When we talk about the bodies, we call it as the three bodies. Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira. If we talk about the koshas, it is Pancha Koshas. So the changeless factor is there. Over and about that, superimposed over and about that are all our equipment. Then comes the world of things and beings outside. Everything belongs to the realm of change. Therefore, Sankara is saying, turn your attention, at least for a few minutes every day, on that which is the changeless. That truth, Chintaya. At least a little bit think about it. Don't say there is no time. We always say there is no time for anything. Of course, there is no time for us to do a puja, or to do a namaskar to Bhagavan. So much time is there. Still, we say there is no time. We are so occupied with the realm of change that we have no time to think of the changes because of which we exist. It's because of that very changeless factor in us that we are existing. But still we don't have time to think about it. So therefore he says, think of that truth. Think of that changeless, over and above which all the change exists. Hey brother, think of the Lord, is what he is telling us over here. How to think about the Lord now? He says the best thing for all of us is to enter into a satsang. So in the 9th shloka, which is one of the very important shlokas of the Bhaja Govindam, he says, Satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan muktihi, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. The importance of satsang has been given over here. In all our, whether it is the epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Puranas, our scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, all of them talk about the importance of satsang. Sankara is dealing with that in the 9th verse over here in his Bhaja Govindam. So he says, Satsangatvi, the first word is Satsanga and the last word is Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means to be liberated in life. To attain mukti, moksha, enlightenment. How to attain mukti or enlightenment or moksha or Bhagavad Sakshatkara or Bhagavan's darshan, he says him Ishvara darshan, he says start with satsang. If we start with satsang, sure it will lead us to Jivan Mukti. You will become totally free, absolutely free. Absolute freedom will be ours. Not relative freedom. Relative freedom is the freedom that we are all enjoying. Absolute freedom will become ours. provided we enter into satsanga. So slowly he goes stage by stage, stage by stage, stage by stage, step by step, how satsang can lead us to Jivan Mukti. So the importance of satsang, Narada Bhakti Sutra, Narada told us, we must engage ourselves in satsang. Dussanga, give up at all costs. Don't think it's okay. One day I went there, or one day I spoke to that person. I know that person is leading an unrighteous life, but just one day. That just one day, or that 1 minute, or that 1 hour, we do not know what it will do to us. So he said, by all means we should give up this dussanga, bad company. And we should therefore enter into good company, satsanga. Satsanga doesn't only mean, oh, we should have more number of people around us and about us, because that's what satsang means for us. When we say I went for a satsang, it obviously means there were more people over there. So satsang means, how can I enter into satsang? There is no satsang in our area or in our town. So it doesn't mean the number of people. Sangha means attachment, to connect with. Sangha, attachment. To connect with what? Sat. Sat means good. That's all it means. So satsanga means the company of the good. That good can be people. The good can be books. That good can be what we are seeing, what we are hearing, what we are studying. That is what satsanga means. So even if nobody is there, we can enter into a satsang all alone by reading the scriptures or by listening to a discourse of a master. What are we doing? We are in satsanga only. Only one person? Yes, but still I am connected with, or I am in the company of something which is noble, higher, good, uplifting, which will help us in our evolutionary path. Here we are talking about spiritual evolution. How can satsanga lead to Jivan Mukti? Sankara very beautifully gives us the various stages. So he says, satsangatve nissangatvam. The company of the good, or attachment to anything good, noble. It can be things, it can be people, it can be situations and circumstances. All of that, he says, slowly will lead to detachment within ourselves. Started with renunciation, give up this, give up that. Means discipline in our life, self-control at all levels of our sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Constantly we are attached to this, we are attached to that, and therefore there is no time for anything in our life. So therefore, when we enter into satsang, slowly the teacher says, nissangatva will happen to you. You will come away from all that which is not really needed in our lives. We will come to appreciate what essentials are, what non-essentials are, what are our priorities, what are non-priorities. Do I really need this? Or if these things and these beings are there, do I really need to attach or do I need to have an overwhelming connect with them? Attach myself so much that if the thing or being is not there, then I am completely doomed. I collapse in my life. So slowly, satsanga will lead to non-attachment or detachment. So therefore they say it is detachment, attachment, or attachment, detachment that we have to practice side by side, simultaneously. So the company of the good will slowly make us move away from the company of the bad. Bad doesn't mean only people, things, situations, circumstances, everything that will pull us down. Slowly we will start moving away from that. Vairagya will come to us, renunciation will happen to us, nissangat. When nissangatva happens to us, then as a consequence of that, what will happen? Nissangatve nirmohatvam. The moha that we are all in, this is real. This is going to be constantly and permanently with me. And this thing or this being will always give me happiness. We are stuck with that. We know, but still we hope that this person will give us happiness. This thing will give to us happiness. And then we feel deceived. Why? The thing did not give us the happiness we expected, or the person did not give to us the happiness that we expected from her or from him. That illusion will go away in us. That moha into which we have all got caught into. This is real. It's not real. So we will clearly see what is real and what is unreal. And when we see what is real and when we see what is unreal, what will we do? Slowly we will move away from the unreal and hold on to the real. This is called progressing on the spiritual path. So, nissangatve nirmohatvam. Slowly, that moha in us, that clinging attachment toward things and being, hoping that they will be there with us permanently, constantly, they're eternal, and they'll give to us the same amount of happiness day in and day out till we are living, it'll all go away from us. We learn to see things as they are. We learn to accept people as they are. So the right relationship will come into our lives. That itself is nirmohatva. So nissangatva will slowly lead to nirmohatva. Freedom from all this illusion, delusion. Where delusion is, illusion will come. Delusion means I don't know the reality, and therefore I have taken this to be the reality. That is illusion. Delusion gone, illusion also gone. The illusion is we are seeing mirage waters on the tar road on a hot day. That's the illusion we are seeing. We are really seeing with our eyes. What is the illusion? I don't know the science behind it. In physics we are taught it is nothing but total internal reflection, which makes us see water on the road which is not existing. Delusion means I do not know, ignorance. So ignorance of that science makes me see water over there. Person who knows the physics behind it, though they are seeing the mirage water, still they know it is not water. So delusion gone, illusion gone. Where delusion is, illusion will be there. Both of them are called as moha. So therefore, once nissangatva comes to us, nirmohatva will automatically come to us. Nirmohatve nischala tattvam. Once the moha has gone, we know what is real, we know what is unreal. We have moved away from all that which is unreal, and we are holding on to the real. What will nischala tattvam? That reality slowly will reveal itself where? Within us. It's not outside having Ishvara Darshana over there. Slowly we are moving closer and closer and closer and closer to Paramatma within us, not outside of us. If there is a veil, it slowly starts becoming thinner and thinner and thinner, and finally it will dissolve away. First it was a thick curtain which veiled us from Bhagavan within ourselves. So slowly as we practice satsanga, which will lead to nisangatva, and that which will lead to nirmohatva, and once nirmohatva comes into us, nischala tattvam. We will be learned to abide in what? In that immutable reality. Whatever we are doing outside of us, whatever our equipment are doing, our hands and legs are engaged in doing our daily day-to-day activities. Mind is engaged over there, intellect is engaged over there, but still within ourselves we will be grounded in, rooted in, well established in that tattva, that reality. That's what is meant by doing all our activities God-centered. Right now we are doing all our activities ego-centered. I, where I is, mine will be there. Instead of being ego-centered, we should learn to be God-centered. So, well established in Him, remaining in Him, we should learn to function at all levels of our equipment, body, mind and intellect. So from there we should learn to operate. That will happen. So nirmohatve nischala tattvam. Nischala tattve jivan mukti. Slowly, like I said, if we are moving closer and closer and closer to Him within ourselves. Once we become God-centered, Paramatma-centered, Brahman-centered, and start doing all our activities, none of those activities can touch us. Neither the result of the activities can touch us. Why? We are centered in Him. So therefore within ourselves we have moved away from the realm of change and we are abiding in being well established in the changeless. Once we are well established in the changeless, Jivan Mukti has happened to us already. Absolute freedom is ours. So therefore Nischala Tattve Jivan Muktihi is what Sankara is saying over here. So he started with satsang. And he says, slowly, if we earnestly and sincerely, regularly and constantly practice satsang, sure it will lead us to Jivan Mukti one day. So there are stages over here. From satsang, slowly we will be able to go higher and higher and higher till one day Jivan Mukti happens to us. Therefore it's like going up. Exactly the reverse, opposite, going down, has been given to us by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter, where he is dealing with the characteristics of a man of realization. Arjuna asks, I want to know the characteristics of a man of realization. In that section, that last section of the 2nd chapter of the Gita, Krishna talks about how we can fall stage by stage fall. Whereas over here, Shankara has given us how stage by stage we can evolve, and from a man we can become a God man. Manava can become Madhava, or Nara can become Narayana. The opposite has been given, very beautifully indicated by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. 2 verses are there as a contrast to this. So that those 2 verses we will go through it in our next class. It's a contrast to what Shankara has told us over here. So if this represents evolution, those 2 shlokas over there represents how we can fall easily. So if satsang takes us to Jivan Mukti, what is it that if I engage in or with connect with, because Sangha means to connect with, which will bring to me disastrous results? We will see that in the next class.